Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite Written Writ Ralph talking to you straight from our show here, Apple Bites, where we take out a bite out of the apple and share it with you. You know, I keep forgetting that this thing has a setting where it leaves what I put up where I put it up. But there's times where it doesn't do that. So I'm like, okay. Then I got to go all musical chairs over here.
Very interesting to watch, actually. Like, where are we going to end up? Where are we going?
I feel like
We should just put a shuffle feature.
Yeah. It's also like Tetris, where like if you build a whole line, we all just clear and disappear.
Oh my goodness! I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Everybody, I feel like I abused that button though.
No, what would actually be a fun game is if only the person in the top right corner gets allowed to speak, but everyone else is randomized. So it just randomizes who gets in there, and we have to respond within the time frame.
Oh dear.
No pressure.
Well, folks, we got a beautiful show today. We got a lot of people on the show. So you know what? Let's get this started. Chase and Alex, why don't you guys start the show off, start the party off, let the people know who you are, what you do, all the good stuff. You start, Chase.
All right, sure. I'm Chase. I am the Chief Audio Officer and one of the founders of Pocket Bard. We make an app for adding music and sound to TTRPG sessions in kind of the most intuitive, straightforward, simple way possible. And Alex is my business partner. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, Chase, and thanks for having us. I'm Alex. Like Chase said, I started out writing most of the music for Pocket Bard. Now that's a split responsibility as we're able to start working with more awesome creators. But I also work on all the business operations. So I got, my fancy three-letter title now. But same, it's just basic answering emails, crunching numbers, working on spreadsheets. So
the non-fun stuff.
Filling out endless paperwork.
Yeah, honestly, I love it. I love spreadsheets, and I'm very happy to be splitting my time. And maybe I was born to be an accountant or something, and I just missed it.
Oh, I have to make spreadsheets at work. I hate it, man. So when you finish this one, we put it all together, but the process and stuff. Something else sometimes.
But yeah, that's it. We have a third member, Jason, who is not here tonight. But yeah, we started the app back in 2019, kind of working off and on it. And then when we had our first MVP or minimum viable product where we could actually test it and start playing around with it, we kind of realized, we actually have something here that actually could be pretty useful to people. And that's when we really doubled down and started working on it more or less full time. And now we have been growing our team, especially this year, where had a viral video that got us like 250,000 downloads. Wow. So that helped.
That'll do it, yeah.
Hey, there's Alex talking about the app.
I gotta say, I enjoy your Instagram. I find it a lot of fun. It's kind of hard to keep the social media aspect of things going, especially when you're trying to do things.
Well, kudos to Jeanette on that one. She's our social media manager. She's, ever since stepping in, she has made sure that our social media looks much better than it would have otherwise. And so she can take all the credit for that.
Well, she does a good job. And you guys do a great job at showcasing this. I really like this app. I've actually been able to use it a couple times. And I'm paying the subscription after I used it for free. Because you can use it for free and then pay for the subscription.
Yeah, that's right.
I gotta say, it really is a mood setter.
Thank you. Yeah, we work really hard to make sure that, it's important to us that even the free version of the app feels really full-featured and really enhances your experience. So,
and I want to tell you folks that I didn't have to upgrade because he's right. The free aspect of the thing is so useful that you can stay with it, but I find that they added so much to it that I really wanted to get all that extra stuff.
Yeah, so what is the difference between the free version and like the subscription version? Like what other things are added on that you can't get in the free version?
So it's purely content. Part of our design philosophy is that, in general, feature upgrades are things that everybody should have access to, so that you can really experience everything that we put into the app. And then the subscription really is just kind of unlocking the rest of the library of content. So extra music, extra sound effects, things like that. And that's, kind of indefinitely our strategy with what's in that paywall.
Yeah, and that being said, we really want the free version to be able to cover a basic beginning campaign, right?
Yeah.
So covering all the basic locations, dungeons, fields, forests, plains, tavern, all that stuff is all free. And we're also going back and improving it. So some of that was the first music I started working on back 5 years ago now. And after doing it for 5 additional years, you get better at stuff. So I'm looking forward to this kind of getting a chance to step back and work again on the existing free content and bring it up to our current standards, both in terms of like how much music is in each scene, as well as the actual audio production quality, which now we have a team working on it. We've got Chase mastering it. I'm much better at mixing now. So yeah, as our skills level up, we want to be able to put that back into the free experience as well. So there'll be a lot of new stuff or I guess improvements, I should say, coming to our free users as well.
The sound effects, just quickly, I just want to say the sound effects is a great idea. It's like one of those I never would have thought of, but that makes so much sense, So that's really cool.
It adds so much to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm used to that on like Roll20 because Roll20 has like a lot of those features. So it's cool to be able to take something like that and like have it in real life in an in-person game. Very clever.
So I have a question about Pocket Bard. Do you have like a signature sound effect like the Wilhelm scream that you've made for it?
Ooh, good question. I like that.
We do have some fun screams in there, actually. I would say more than a signature sound effect is our kind of signature control. So if you notice on any of the screenshots, there's a slider labeled intensity. With all of the music in the app, we have carefully constructed it so that at any point in time, you can change this slider and the music will rearrange on the fly to bring certain instruments in and out to kind of change the direction of the composition and make it so that very, very quickly you can adapt the music to kind of the tone of what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of our signature thing.
That's very cool. Very
I
impressive.
gotta say, and it's really useful, and it really amps up the game. Because that means you're sometimes when you're trying to get the music to go to what you're doing as the DM, it's so much easier if I can just like amp it up a little bit on the slider and leave everything else the way it is.
And then all of your players get stressed out. Like, why did the music suddenly get more intense? What's going on?
And they do.
It's working as intended then, perfectly.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Really try.
One of my favorite features about it that wasn't necessarily something we thought about in the preliminary conceptualization of it, but was you could hand it to a player and have them manage the audio, because you can adapt in real time to whatever's happening. You don't have to prep, so you wouldn't have to like explain the story beats and everything ahead of time to the player, right? So they would have like a contaminated experience, I guess, or something. They would actually be able to just sit there in real time, and if there's somebody that wants something additional to do during a game, that's something you could offload from the game master to a player and have it be an actual option.
I like that idea.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I was thinking like as a DM, I probably would forget to even like pick up my phone and look at it or do anything with the app. So just handing that off to someone else is a great idea.
I gotta say, if you're gonna do that, the app also helps you out there because it becomes background. So even if you're sitting there and you forget to change things, the ambiance becomes whatever is going on, and then there's times where you don't need to change it. One of my favorite ones, especially it's from the event, is the whole tavern. you know, and I loved using that because, you know, your group always ends up in a tavern. And I gotta say that the way you guys have the tavern set up, it's so much fun because, you know, you can have it like if you put it low, then there's stuff happening in the background. If you put it a little higher, then it's amping up. The audience is getting rowdy. It's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, the Tavern collection was for us our first foray into fully producing most of the music with live instruments. So, you know, we do a lot of production with software instruments, and for Tavern we you know, worked with two songwriters and got a band together and went into the studio and recorded all this stuff. And again, with Pocket Bard kind of having that feature with the intensity slider, we had to make sure that our production process took that into account from the start, that we were recording things in a way that we could then implement into the app in this really smooth way of being able to dial it down. I always like to describe it as like at the lowest settings, you can get very much like a calm coffee shop vibes. And then you can ramp it all the way up to like raucous tavern sing-along. And we do actually have crowd vocals that sing along with the music.
Yeah, I love it.
Amazing.
Little Easter egg in there.
I love it. I love listening to the crowd in the background, and as you mess with the intensity, I love how the crowd gets either more or less. It's a lot of fun.
So
That was what.
So Chase,
Go
do
ahead.
you have things like weapons? Did you guys actually have to go out and like shoot things with arrows or like hit something with an axe to get like weapon sound effects, or is that not in it?
So not yet. For a lot of the sound effects, we've been able to work with some really high-end sound effect libraries. So luckily, there are sound designers who kind of do that work ahead of time and allow you to download some of the assets and kind of recraft them to your needs. But we did just hire a full-time sound designer who has started doing some field recording. And who knows, maybe someday I'll you know, we'll buy him some weapons and we can go out and make cool sounds.
Cool.
I gotta say, on a side note, I've gone to see 20-Sided Tavern, and it's amazing. And I know you guys went to see it. What do you guys think?
I thought it was so much fun.
Yeah, folks, you guys got to go check this out. It is a rompous time.
Yeah, I was just really impressed how the cast was able to, the level of improv is just so amazing to be able to keep the energy of the show up the whole time. Like, wow.
I see you guys did the Demure video.
Yes. had to jump on that trend.
Like I said, I really love what you guys do with your Instagram. You guys have a lot of fun with it. I can see that you guys have actually done some moments like this where you guys actually playing D&D.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all important because it kind of showcases what you're talking about.
Yeah, it makes it very easy to understand like what the app is for, what it's about, and you know, you're getting entertained in the process. So A+++.
One of the videos I played earlier, it was like a woman was drowning. It was like, what the? Wow, this is exciting. Like, wow, what is this? Very cool.
My God, if my character was drowning and like stressful music came on, I feel like I'd just drown in real life.
Yeah, those games are super helpful for just testing as well. So if we're like that session for our desert launch was that it's like 4.5 hours, 5 hours maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives a really good, that helps me to know actually playing in game what stuff sounds like. If can you tell when it loops? Are there things that stand out a little bit too much? Should I go back and edit the music a little bit more, change the mix so that it's a little bit more cohesive across? Is there anything that's a little too loud versus everything else? So that type of quality testing is part of what we offer to the users, is that we've gone through and put the legwork in to balance everything ahead of time so that you really don't have to be worrying much about the audio leveling, balancing it, and that we can do that work for them. And that's something we're always kind of working on and iterating on every time we play or get feedback. That's something that, well, you know, we'll find new things that, we can improve stuff there or over here.
I gotta say, it doesn't. You're right. You guys have tested it out well enough that nothing seems to drown out what's going on. Even if I forget to pay attention to the app as we're doing the scene, it doesn't drown out what I'm doing, which is good.
Yeah, and you made a point earlier about that not somebody made a point about it not kind of getting in the way,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure Jolene could speak to this as well, but one of the goals of a good score is to not get in the way, right? It's supporting character, right? It's helping to the real perk of music is that it's the shortcut to people's emotions, right? It's how we can very quickly access certain emotions and feelings and immersive kind of vibes. So we want to set that, but then not get in the way of whatever's happening. And in a gaming session, that's whatever the story is, whatever the players are discussing, whatever the adventure is the DMs or the GM's trying to lead people on. So it's really, we want to do our part to be noticeable enough to have people feel it, but not to always be noticing the music. Yeah, it's just kind of one of the scoring 101 type of basics. Although there's sometimes creative choices in films, video games, other mediums where they kind of flip that and do have music take center stage, but that's a creative choice and it makes it more powerful when that's done.
But you actually help people do that though, because there's moments where you can actually amp it up all the way and you're feeling that music.
Dial it up to 11.
Exactly.
That's our secret, actually, is under the hood, that intensity slider goes all the way to 11.
Yeah.
So.
Amazing.
Chase, you weren't supposed to reveal that. That's
trade secrets. No.
Yeah.
I feel like you should just include that on like the user end too, just because everyone would be like, haha, I get that meme. So
turn it up to 11.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you guys work with other artists when it comes to the music. How are you? What are you looking for, or just people like go, hey, I want to work with you guys?
It's been a mix of things. One of the first other artists that we worked with was Josie Palmer, who ended up being one of the songwriters and the singer for the Tavern Collection. But we had her jump in and on one of the horror tracks as well. And it just came about that we were connected with her and we were big fans of her music, and we were able to get her on board. And from there, it's just a balance of, who we know, what we're looking for at the particular time. And a lot of times it's our capacity as a company. We're still a very small company, growing, which is great. But a lot of times we want to be able to put more people on the team and things like that. And we're just always struggling to kind of keep keep right on the edge of our capacity to make sure we're delivering as much value as possible to people, but also not kind of overexerting what we can do to make sure that it's sustainable into the future.
That's very smart to think ahead though, because I feel like a lot of people don't, and they just like either max themselves out or under deliver. And you guys seem to have found the balance between like, how do we consistently put out good quality stuff without, burning ourselves out?
We're trying.
Yeah,
it's hard.
That's a really tricky balancing act, and I would say it comes kind of in fluctuations and in waves, right? We definitely kind of overspent when it came to the Tavern Collection and some other music that we recorded live in studio, right? The bills for those projects added up very quickly, and while I think it was definitely worth it, it does mean we have to pull back a little bit now, right? And then hopefully in a few months we'll be able to kind of increase the amount of live recordings we're doing again. But it is kind of a fluctuation. Sometimes it makes sense to work more in batches of content, right? So maybe a content collection, like we recorded a significant amount of the recently released Desert Collection in a studio over the course of 3 days. So that was 30, 40, 50 minutes of music, in a relatively short amount of time. But yeah, that it comes in waves, and then we realize like, oh, we spent so much time and money on this, we dropped the ball on another aspect of the business. Let's go catch that up, and constantly plugging holes in the ship. But hey,
That's
that's
a
the
great
fun of it
metaphor.
and the stress of it. Yeah.
That's part of the success, though, because that's when you're doing it right. Because okay, we did this. There's stuff happening. Well, let's go fix that while this does what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, we're actually are in a phase of that right now, a new phase of that, and I think, kind of set ourselves up in a good way to let the development team work on some really important things that they're doing, but our content team is able to launch content and get that out the doors as soon as it's done, basically. So it's, again, push and pull. It's a balancing act, that's for sure. So
Sometimes real world restrictions are a good thing, because when you figure out creative ways to get around it, it's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Absolutely, like
Yeah.
10,000%.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I feel like anytime you have limitations, it makes you get creative. Because you got to figure out how to do it and make it happen.
that's my favorite part about just running a business in general, is it's nothing but creative problem solving, really. And if you can distill it down to the things that you need to solve for, and you have a great team that you can bounce ideas off each other, different skills, different mindsets, it can be a really engaging thing, right? Where it's very stimulating for the brain. It's definitely not boring. So and having a great team also helps to manage some of the stress. Like, for example, for all of 2023, I was managing all the social media stuff, posting all the videos, responding to all the TikTok comments, responding to all the Instagram comments. Now, I pushed through it, but it was not a good fit for me. It would just make me so drained every single day. And I first of all, I hate social media. So
Amen.
that's probably not the right fit for that
You do
anyway.
such a great job with it.
We love everybody watching, though.
Yeah. Is not to disparage some of the elements of value, which are life or globe changing, but it just isn't psychologically a good fit for me, right? I like to sit and work on one project without anybody else, kind of like a very single task type of focus. So when we were able to hire somebody who not only was able to take it off my hands, but do it better than me, like customer support and stuff.
That's what you want.
Yeah, that was a game changer for me and lowered my stress level by about 70%. Obviously, I built it back up other ways, but
creative problem solving. Got to find more ways to stress yourself out, right?
Exactly. But yeah, again, I can't really overstate the importance of a team that has a variety of skill sets and personalities and talents and interests. It's really been the lifeblood of our company, I think.
I got a chance to see some of your team at the tavern special thing that you guys did. It was fantastic. I loved it. It was fun to watch you guys, and it looked like I was watching a family do something. Just to say what to add on to what you're saying, you guys have built a group of people that actually feel like they're working well together and they feel like family.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time thinking about our kind of company culture, and especially as our team has started to grow this year, making sure that from the start we're taking extra special care to just pay attention to how people act toward each other, what expectations are, even from a social perspective, and just make sure that we're becoming a company that people are really happy to be working at or working with. That's kind of important to build in from the start.
I gotta say, I'm just hanging out from the outskirts, and I'm enjoying having fun with you guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
it was great meeting you at the event. That was definitely a first. Chase, do you know how many people we had there? I know it was.
You got a great number of people.
It was packed. I think we were at capacity at the venue, so it was probably 110 people, something around there. Like this little tavern in the middle of New York City, and it was a lot of fun.
And that is a lot of people in a little tavern.
Exactly. Yeah. You guys actually got somebody to help you out with that, right?
Yes, Leela Quests. Shout out to Leela Quests. They are an immersive events company. The way that I described it to them afterward, so pre Pocket Bard, I worked at an escape room, and I ended up as a manager at an escape room, and so I've got a bunch of experience with like that kind of lane. The events that Leela Quests put together feel like if you were to like turn an escape room inside out, and rather than like trying to leave being the goal, it's like trying to get to the end of the adventure. Otherwise, it's like a very similar feel to the experience. And if you want to put on an event, invite a bunch of people, and kind of go through that flow of things, they're a wonderful company to work with. Chris and Haley, they're out of Iowa, one of the Midwest states.
Ohio.
They're
Shoot, if I get that wrong, they're gonna laugh at
Oh
me.
no. One of those Midwest states with a bunch of vowels in there, I guess.
Yeah, there's
Hey,
like
dude.
some sort of crop fields nearby. But yeah, they were wonderful. They came out and helped us really. I don't think we could have pulled off what we did without them. I think they made the biggest difference in making the experience memorable for everyone, making it immersive, and really engaging everyone there so that it was more than just a launch party for some content, that we really got to make it a special and memorable thing.
I gotta say, I had a chance to talk to him, and he's a nice guy, and picking his brain on all that stuff that he was doing. I love talking to him so much. I have him on the show next week.
Nice. All right.
Amazing.
So you guys can learn more about them from him himself next
And
week.
we can find out where they're from too.
Exactly. Oh man. So Derek and Kirby, your turn. Why don't you tell the people who you are, all the good stuff. Give them the spiel. Go for it.
Sure. So, hi everyone. In case you've seen us before on, Bitten Apple, then you'll already know a bit about us. But if
That's true.
you haven't, we are a indie game company from Canada that's been multi-award winning over all the years with all the little projects that we do, and our focus is on making not only games super fun, but making them as accessible and as inclusive as possible. So everything we do is all neurospicy friendly to make sure that everyone can sit down and play at the same gaming table. But our philosophy isn't just as simple as making games easy to play, because when you make things easy to play, you typically lose out all that complexity that the top-end gamer wants. So we have this really weird struggle that basically any other game designer that knows anything about game design and the industry will tell you not to do, which is you want to pick a very specific target audience and go for that. We're like, no, we refuse. We're going to make sure everyone can play our games together and still have fun. And that's kind of been our challenge and struggle over all the years. Like Pocket Bard, we started off a couple years ago. It feels longer, mainly because we did get started right before COVID, but that obviously threw us into a bit of a lurch, like everybody else. But since then, we've kind of found our footing again, and we're building up. So we're at the stage of business where we're like, oh yeah, we want to expand, but we can't bite off too much. And we've got all these cool little projects that are starting to take off the ground, and we're also widening our staff, which is how we end up with such a talented individual like Kirby working with us. So if Kirby, you want to introduce yourself, please feel free.
Kirby. I'm one of the newer writers at Nomnivore Games. I did the system design for Nomventure here, and I'm working on a lot of fun stuff for Derek. That includes Emberwind as well. But yeah, more recently we managed to fund Nomventure, which has a lot of tie-ins with Emberwind. You don't need to have played Emberwind to play Nomventure. But there is a lot of Emberwind DNA within our kids game.
I gotta say, we were pushing this like really hard when you guys had the Kickstarter going. I love the fact that you can actually go onto the Kickstarter page and still buy the product.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for helping push it. We kept the late pledges open for this because regardless of whether this fully funded or not within that time frame, we still wanted to bring this to fruition. Especially for a lot of people who reached out and said that, hey, we really, really want to back this particular project, but we don't have money right now, like some medical emergency came up or something like that. So we wanted to make sure that, like earlier we were talking about accessibility and inclusivity, price is one of those things that can keep people locked out of these great experiences too. So we want to do whatever we could to help support them. One was late pledges. Another thing that we did was we included a donation tier where if people thought this was a really good game, but it wasn't necessarily for them, they could donate it to a family in need instead. And we give them a bunch of really cool exclusives for spreading the goodwill of gaming kind of everywhere around the world.
I gotta say, Derek, I think one of the reasons we've gotten along from the beginning is because everybody's always telling me that I need to concentrate on a specific thing, and that way I can become successful, and the channel will grow and all this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm interested in a lot of things, so I'm going to cover a lot of things.
Sure.
So and when we first met, Derek, you really like sold me on the whole thing. I love the direction you went with this. It is a whole role-playing thing. It's different. It feels different, and at the same time, it's more of what we love.
Yeah, we tried really hard to respect the traditional TTRPG because there's a lot of history, there's a lot of DNA in that's really fun and really great. But one of the things that we got really frustrated with, especially over the years as we kind of started playing these games with more and more newer players, especially everyone who got welcomed in by things like Critical Role and all that, was just the amount of work it took for people to get into games. So we wanted to kind of revisit how you could make gaming as accessible to as many audiences as possible by respecting what everyone was interested in, right? While reducing that barrier of entry without also reducing all the fun complexities, the texture to it that really made the game feel like yours. So we definitely really kind of vibe on that level where we're like, no, let's go this really hard route where we're trying to make everything work at the same time. But I think there's definitely merit to that, right? Like what we're building isn't supposed to be another D&D. This is for everybody who's been, the way we put it is anyone who's been like D&D curious, who's always wanted to try but never had a chance to experiment or experience because 800 pages of rules is too much for them.
I gotta say, it always comes across that way, and we're constantly telling people about all your games. Because it just really hits home. It's just the fact that you can sit there and do this. It's not as difficult as getting into the D&D aspect of things. I have to say, it feels like you put this out there and you play it.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't appeal just to children, but as someone who's like almost 40 with almost 40-year-old friends, and we have 3 hours on a weekend to hang out, we don't want to sit there just you're reading through 800 pages of rules. It's easier to just find something that you can just get into right away and just chill at the park, chill at a bar, whatever, a couple hours, play a game, call it a day. No homework required.
Sorry. It sounds like it has a broad appeal. You can play the game your way, how you want to play it, and so I'm not sure how to word this, but it sounds like it has a great appeal. So everyone will have their own experience. That's what it seems like from how you're describing it. So it's a pretty good idea.
No, I mean, you nailed it directly on the head there. What we wanted to do was make all the fun still be there, but with none of the work, right? Not only because, it's an accessibility thing for kids, but one of the greatest enemies of any playing group is time, right? The schedule is unforgiving. Everyone's together except, oh no, your DM couldn't make it this week. Now what are you going to do, right? So we wanted to...
Yeah, my DM, a couple of years ago, got married, and I, never saw him again.
Oh, how dare they, right? Jeez. Getting into a committed relationship.
Yeah, I was just suddenly he's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't make it this time. I got to mow the lawn. I got to do this. We got to do laundry. I'm like, all right, this game is never happening anymore. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if that's healthy, man. I don't know. I think healthy marriages are, you keep some of your outside hobbies. You got to keep some of your stuff. You can't.
You know what? Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while because he kind of just faded out. So I hope he's okay.
I mean, I don't know. That doesn't seem like I don't know. I think you got to keep some of your friends. That's what I think. I think when husband and wife were they're just together 24/7.
That is unhealthy. That is toxic. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, best of luck.
Yeah. I hope he's doing well. I haven't talked to him in a while because, he just never had time to talk anymore. So maybe that's more of a him problem than a time problem.
Though I might suggest then not to like push our content too much, but definitely check it out. Everything that we have, you can pick up. Not only
Push,
really
push your
quickly.
content. That's what you're here for.
Sort of. I mean, that's
Be
never been my
shameless,
MO.
dude.
I'm so bad at the whole biz side of it, which is why I've hired someone else to handle that. You know, Kate,
Fair.
wherever you are, we love you. Thank you for doing all that stuff. I'm really just the kind of goodwill guy on the team, where I'm just trying to make sure everyone's having a good time, no matter who, no matter what the situation. And at least the most selfish I get is I may or may not have designed all these games to try and convince my own wife to play them with me, because she also refused to read 300 pages of rules, and you know, at least there I've won out. So yeah.
Excellent.
Sorry, Jen.
You as well are building a team, because you know I know Jolene here has worked on music for you guys, which is, you know, we had listened to a little bit of it when she was here the last time. You know, so Jolene, just add on to what you got with what they're doing, but tell them who you are. Go ahead.
Okay, where should I start? I'm a composer for games, films, and animation. Yeah, I actually worked with Derek. How many years again, Derek? Oh, jeez. I forgot.
We first met on
Reddit.
Reddit, so we don't tell anyone
Amazing.
about that part of the story. But like, yeah, we first met on Reddit. I think it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago now, right? Maybe a little more. I don't know. But
I
there's
think
a lot
it
of
was
cool
just
projects since
after COVID. It was just
Yeah.
after COVID.
Yeah, I've completely lost track of all sense of time after you
Yeah.
know the world.
Don't worry,
ended,
you weren't the
so-
only one, Derek. I still feel like I just met you a couple of years ago, and then I keep realizing there was way more than a couple of years.
I still
Yeah.
keep thinking 2018 is 2 years ago, so
See, that's what
I
I'm
think we're
saying.
all in the same boat here.
I've basically become the default bookkeeper just to remind them how long things have been.
Yes, bringer of bad
Yeah,
news,
yeah, you are
aka
not
reality.
the fun one. So
Yeah,
that's
just when you
understood.
think that 2014 was a decade ago, oh my god.
Oh no! Oh
Yeah.
You're like,
no!
oh, no, like 10 years ago, oh, like the 90s, right? No.
Yeah, someone hurt me so badly the other day where they told me as soon as New Year's rolls around, 2050 will be closer than 2000.
Oh, I felt that in the pit of my soul.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, I'm
no!
only drinking that day, so it's all right. Year's Eve.
The Nintendo DS is now old as
no,
the Game
don't say it.
Boy,
Don't say
and the
it.
Switch
No.
is approaching 15 years.
Don't say it.
God.
No! I feel old now.
Oh,
I have people at work who grab DSs and call them vintage game consoles.
oh.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna cry.
So I'm going to showcase a little something here, because you know I have to, because I love Jolene's music.
Aw, thank you.
I gotta say, it's really simple, but it's really catchy.
Oh,
Thank you.
it captured the spirit so well when I
It
first asked
does.
Jolene to help write like a song for the little Nomnivores. And by the way, Jolene's super talented, has done amazing epic
Aw,
scores for us
thanks,
too on
Derek.
the Amber One Den. But like for the Nomnivore stuff, I was like, I want this to sound like a permanent 5-year-old with ADHD. She's like, got it, and just added like a million triangles to everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how a 5-year-old would act. So.
I was worried about the triangle part. I actually had to ask Derek, is this a little bit too much triangles?
No, I was
No,
like,
the
this is
prescription is more triangle.
Exactly.
correct. Always more triangle. But yeah,
That
no,
Saturday Night Live sketch. I need more triangle. Cowbell.
But that's it. Like I done a lot of things with Derek, like a lot of like projects that I done, which are really interesting. But you know, not saying much yet. Everything keeping not some things happening.
Yeah, there is a secret thing that the people here associated with Nom may or may not be working on that will. Well,
Ooh.
we are working on, but I cannot confirm when or how. But it's cool with lots of interesting things, and Jolene's going to be a major part of it.
We love it, and of course, we're gonna stay right on top of this, folks, because we always show you with the Nomnivore stuff.
Once I get some more like NDAs or something to you, but yeah, Yeah, we can get there.
So
So I-
Jolene, do me a favor. Put the
Yeah.
link to the YouTube so I can show it off, so I can show people the difference.
My YouTube channel or something?
Well, the music that you shared it.
Oh,
Okay, there you go. You
that
shared it with
one.
them last time. Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, folks, I'm about to like blow your brains here.
She got range.
Oh, she got range.
So
All
much
right,
range.
let's see it.
Here we go.
I'm just thinking about the Garrus conversation. It's so dirty. I got range, you got flexibility. Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
Oh no! You fit right
Also,
in
the
with
best
the rest
Mass
of
Effect
us.
character.
You fit right in with the rest of us.
Yep.
Garrus is bae. I have a portrait just there. I'm looking at him every day.
Amazing. You are
My
blessed.
partner
Yes,
is okay
in
with it though.
Yes, in your amazing studio there with that piano and so classy.
All right, folks, wait till you hear this.
It's muted.
Love it. I love it.
I got chills. That was amazing.
Thank you.
So I have a question for Jolene. Since you make music for games, like what is your favorite song from a video game?
That's a
from,
good
like, the
question.
past, right? Like
Ooh.
what's the song that sticks in your head? Because that I'm really curious about. What's your music jam that you like?
Oh dear, it changes all the time. I have like a lot depending on what you're asking, but at the moment, what sticks in my head is Outer Wilds
Okay.
by
Okay.
Andrew Parlow.
Mhm.
Really good, fantastic music. If it's something fantasy or like very dark fantasy, then Elden Ring, the main title. I think I talked a little bit too much about that last time. Uh, if it's something very cutesy, the Animal Crossing theme kind of just hits my brain all the time.
I hear that one all the time.
Yeah.
My daughter plays that game. Woo!
To be fair, I've not touched that island for years, so I'm not playing with it anymore. But yeah, it's a lot. I do listen to a lot. I play a lot of video games as well. That's why I kind of get hooked on on the music. Oh, and one comes to mind is Borislav's music for Divinity Original Sins 2. That's like one of
That's
my
one of my
favorite.
favorite games.
It's amazing. The soundtrack is spectacular. I had a very wonderful meeting with Borislav on our podcast where we interview composers, and he
Nice.
is so nice, so down to earth. He loves to like talk about his music and like how video game music really works in video games. And hopefully I'll be talking to a lot of very cool composers coming in. We had a very nice conversation with the composer for All Things Great and Small. Is that All Creatures Great and Small? Sorry, All Creatures Great and Small. Alexandra Howard and Gary Yeshin, who composed a lot of like really contemporary music. I'm in talks with Sam Hewlett. I'm just waiting for him to kind of tell me when he's free. It's really all the composers' time. They are very, very happy to share what they do. It's just more really of like their time and stuff. But yeah. Oh, something I do want to share is Hyrulus is actually doing a live show tomorrow. If you happen to be in London, tickets are still available. Just thought I shout it out since this is just the only live show they're doing at the moment. But there'll be more coming soon. I hope.
You are busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Derek knows I'm busy as well.
Yeah, at least whenever you're not, playing Mass Effect for like the 1,000th time.
I mean, if you get to romance Garrus again, I would do it in a
Right? Yeah,
heartbeat.
that's an important part that you gotta like
Yes.
leave time for. We're talking about making time for your partners, right? So Garrus definitely up there.
Garrett
Exactly.
love.
You have to.
And my
balance.
partner's dead.
Shit.
Derek, I have to ask because I know I always like to jump into this because we always talk about the fact that role play is such a tool to use to for the health of mental health. So I really love the fact that you actually like have crafted yours so that it kind of fits into this whole thing and makes it easier.
Yeah, I mean, I can dive into that and talk a little about it. In fact, that gives me a chance to shout out something else that's cool that we're working on now. So yeah, mental health obviously really important for everyone at all times. And for people who don't know, I used to be a psychotherapist. I stepped down from that at the start of this year, just to make more time to do all the nom stuff because it's been growing. And we wanted to kind of design all of our games the way that would help promote good mental health stuff in you without you necessarily realizing that's all happening, because there's a very strong correlation between things like therapy being therapeutic, but like they're not necessarily one and the same, right? So you can have something that's therapeutic without it being therapy. And gaming is one of those really awesome avenues for that. It provides a lot of structure to people on how to interact with each other, where let's say you're someone who's highly anxious, now you have rules on how to engage with somebody. And there's a bunch of other really cool things with it too, like the whole role-playing aspect will help a lot of people with, let's say, PTSD, be like, oh man, I'm a barbarian who just raged off and destroyed everything. That's exactly what I don't want to do in real life. So there's a lot of like cool evocative moments through that. And the other really important thing about kind of therapy is specifically working with the therapist or someone like me out of a job. Like, we don't ever want to see you again. We want to replace ourselves with something that's much more meaningful to you, which is a group of family and friends, someone who can be supportive of you through like out the rest of your life. And that type of stuff is really easily built through having communal things to do and have fun over, like games. So for us, we just thought, why don't we skip a couple steps? Let's try and build a new pathway to help promote mental health in people through games, where games are designed, unlike D&D that's being used by therapists, by reverse engineering. We want to design something right from the get-go that had all those psychological principles built into it invisibly, so people would be able to have fun, feel better, and never necessarily know what's going on behind the scenes.
That's clever.
It's really
I
clever.
think my favorite thing about video games is like, no matter what you're going through life, no matter what problems, whatever, for that 2 hours, all you can think about is how the heck could I get out of this dungeon? It just everything completely falls away. So
Yeah. So the other thing that we tried to do, and one of the things that we don't typically talk about, because it wasn't something we were starting to push at least until this year, is the fact that we also borrow from educational psychology. There's a fun little principle called scaffolding that's involved in our products, where you can go from product A to product B, or whatever direction, any which way, where the games actually grow alongside you, which is super fun and super cool. We wanted to make sure that, like, especially if we were supporting kids, that the games could support their development. If, let's say, you start off playing our games as a completely hopeless dyslexic where you can't read any words whatsoever, by the time you've played through a bunch of our content, we hope you'll be able to read, dyslexic-friendly fonts really well, but also not dyslexic-friendly fonts too, by introducing a bunch of cool little tricks we'll teach you by doing rather than explaining it through a long list of instructions that nobody cares about. But yeah,
How does that work? Like in game, like how
there's
is
a
that
lot of different
implemented?
ways. One of the cool little tricks that we do is, sorry, I'm gonna scoot off camera for a sec. 'Cause I actually have a copy near us.
Oh my goodness, it's little noms.
Yeah, we do have all of them too. But
I
we do
wanted
little...
one, Derek.
Yes, I know. It's going in the mail for you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. I like how you're just like, I'm gonna threaten you for one right now while you're on screen and can't say
Yep.
no.
Put the pressure on them. Go. Keep putting the pressure.
But a quick little trick is something like this. This here is one of our RPG books, Emberwind, and you'll notice that this is landscape versus your standard portrait, which is how, let's say, D&D is organized. And in portrait books, or D&D, it uses 2 columns for writing. By switching to landscape, we can immediately switch to, let me find a page here with a good example. 3-column writing, which automatically makes it easier for people with dyslexia to read because the text is less, just clumped. There's a bunch of other things that we do, from including colorful iconography to making sure that any step in the book of, let's say, your character creation process is never longer than 2 pages of total content. And we also write it almost like code, so that if you can parse and understand the language once, you'll be able to repeatedly do that wherever you go. And that scaffolding that I'm talking about, we even have little fun casual games like this one here, which is a cute little card game. It's a co-optional dungeon crawler where it teaches you all the wrong things about how to play D&D, but realistically what everybody likes to do, which is kill steal off of one another. And all the little cards in this are written in the same format that everything in Emberwind's written in. It just uses a dyslexic-friendly font, and it's written simpler so that younger kids can get into it, and basically graduates into the Emberwind system in the future.
The game is also very fun. I have played it several times.
The card game?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's like a big box dungeon crawler shrunk down to crayon box size, so kids can bring it to school or something like that easily.
Yeah.
Amazing. Also, yeah, I didn't even think about what you were saying with, like, breaking up the text into 3 columns to make it easier to read. Like, that's something that, like, yeah, a person on the outside like me would never have ever thought about.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that none of us ever think about, like myself included. So because of that, we also have a really weird process for games where we develop like video games. So like everything that we put out has a persistent update cycle. We're like, yeah, none of these products are completely finished. We're going to be updating and improving it over time based on the feedback that you give us, because while I might have the professional knowledge behind me, I'm not actually neuroatypical myself. A lot of our staffers, everyone on our team is effectively, because we're trying to make sure that we're covering as many camps as possible. And also, we try and specifically hire people that work in that particular way too, just because we want to be a leader in the industry by making opportunities for people who typically can't find them elsewhere otherwise. So, yeah.
Love it. Love it.
That's the way to do things. I feel like both of you guys are doing the same thing, where your thing is growing, it's becoming something.
I hope so. Yeah. Otherwise, this is just like a really fun experiment at the very least. So.
Yeah, but that's the point, though. I feel like because you are in this place, it puts you guys in a different place, like you were saying, and at the same time, it's this thing that is not where it's going to go to yet. And you still got a lot of places to grow, and I think that one of the things I like about both your products.
Yeah, I respect that. Instead of just saying like, all right, this is the finished product, this is all you get, like that's it. You're open to listening to feedback. That there's always room for improvement, and like that's always a great sign. Like that's a great sign that that the person who's behind the thing like actually cares about making a good product.
Yeah, I both jokingly and not jokingly tell everybody when they pick up a copy of my games to literally tell me how much they hate them. Like at any point, like just be as aggressive as they want to, and they're all like, haha, but like, why? I'm like, no, like legitimately, because if you don't tell me what's bad about it, I can't make it better for everybody, right? So,
I love that.
There's currently no vending machine characters that I can play as.
Well, have you checked out the latest anime expansion yet? Because
Ooh.
Not yet. This sounds
Okay.
like a perfect segue.
Oh well, maybe not. Maybe
Oh.
I don't know. We it's definitely arrived in the States. We've been fulfilling orders for it already, but it's a very silly expansion. It adds 2 additional player slots to Dungeons and Dinos, and it's themed to not only your favorite iconic characters, but the unique mechanic in that expansion is you don't just play with Nomnivores, you also play with Normie friends. You have to specifically throw certain items at to force them to cosplay and take on their ultimate forms to help you throughout your adventure. Otherwise, they'll just spend the entire time asking everyone, if, is this a cartoon, and not actually know how to play. Like, it's legitimately built around the culture of gaming.
I love it.
Amazing.
Just love it. All right. One of our guest hosts here is Mr. Lennox over here. Why don't you tell the people what you got over here, and I'll put it up if I can find it.
Well, so I made a comic book. It's the 5th in my series. So yeah, geez, it's kind of a change of pace. There's a lot of I mean, you guys are a legitimately small company, so I'm just a guy making comic books as I can. But anyway, so Lords of the Cosmos 5 is the 5th issue of my 1980s themed toy and Saturday morning cartoon inspired comic book. So it's a throwback piece to things that I liked when I was a kid, like Heavy Metal Magazine and 2000 AD and Judge Dredd. Each book is black and white. I've always enjoyed the black and white comic book experience with things like 2000 AD, Savage Sword of Conan, etc. And I've been doing this with my 2 creative partners, Dennis and Jason, since about 2016. So that's some of my art right there that I drew. And so basically, it is a world rocked by magic and technology where anything's possible that has been going through a series of wars with some superpowered villains and heroes that are fighting across the planet. And it's the end times. And this is the last war they're going to have because they've been going at it for a while. But this issue is a oversized comic by comic book standards. It's 44 black and white pages with 3 full stories in it. I had a hand in each of them. One I did the artwork for, the main story, and the other 2 stories I co-wrote. So it is very similar in tone and spirit to things I remember from my past, like Flash Gordon, Thundar the Barbarian, Masters of the Universe, and Thundercats all come to mind. So in an ideal world, you would get those vibes from the comic, but you wouldn't feel that it's a derivative, but you would get the same feeling you would as if you like Westerns and you enjoyed the Dollar Trilogy, but you could also enjoy 310 to Yuma or Unforgiven and recognize that they're Westerns, but they're not the same. So there is a huge, crazy variety of characters, from talking man-sized insects to robots to talking animals to cannibal cyborgs, and it's a lot of fun. It had 9 variant covers made, which we're scrolling through as we speak with some different friends of mine that do art, and we try to have some different themes and looks to it, and it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, guys,
I gotta say, it does have that feel of a Conan and all those books you mentioned. So you did a good job.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, if that's the tone that you're getting, like, that's the point, right? I had someone recently say, how do these characters work? They're so over the top.
But that's the point.
But yeah, I mean, like if they're in an over the top environment and everything's over the top, it works, right? It's kind of like professional wrestling. It's all amped up to an 11. So when everyone's amped up to an 11, it all works. So yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, and you know, it works because that's the theme and the feeling for it. And you know, to me, you know, whatever project you're doing, I think it's a lot about tone. And did you hit the tone you wanted? You know, whether it's Pocket Bard or Nomnivore, I could tell that you all were trying to hit a specific, you know, feeling or tone for your product and hit a specific audience. And I think from listening about the stuff you've done, I think you've done it. And I hope I've done the same thing. some people have said to me, well, is this only for people that, grew up with those things? And well, I think that those folks can have an extra bonus feeling towards it. I always felt the comics were strong enough that if you just picked one up and you were 20, that it would hold up on its own merits and not just because it's got some nostalgia feeling to it. So
you hitting something that it pisses me off sometimes is the fact that we deal in all this fantasy stuff, and then you get all these people that go, it's not realistic enough, and I'm like, it's comic books, it's fantasy. What's not realistic enough? I'm like, what? Oh
no. So in the new issue, at a certain point, there's a group of commandos that are heroes, and one is a nod to the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. The leader is a man-sized wasp with a shotgun, and then they have a rhinoceros with them, as well as some just human soldiers. And at one point, they take over a truck, and the rhinoceros is driving it. And we had a lot of fun with that. This book amps it up, and there's some realistic elements, and then there's some stuff that's just flight of fancy, just over the top. And I really try to embrace it, and just really kind of embrace that, turn it up to an 11 feeling. And I like it because that's the kind of stuff that I like. And I enjoyed those sorts of things when I was a kid. And I enjoy those sorts of things now. So, yeah. And like I said, I lean into it. I don't make apologies for it. It's what I like. And, hopefully, a lot of people can enjoy it. And, with any comic book, it's always a grind to get it out to a new audience. So, if you're watching this and you think it looks kind of cool, or what I'm saying connects with you, check it out. It's good stuff.
Quickly, I just want to say that the artwork looks great, and I love your use of black and white. I see especially a lot of you young artists, they don't understand that. It looks to me they don't understand that when you're dealing with black and white, you're using blacks a lot of time as in the place of color. So just the way that you use it, that you can tell that you're really paying attention to how to move those blacks around. So I mean, it looks amazing. So.
Yeah, it's not just color; it's also like texture too. There's a lot of different textures that go on. That it's like, oh, well, no fancy Photoshop brushes here. This is all just like
right. So you're dealing in black and white, for example, like you're drawing a tree. Like you want to make those leaves black, but I think some people don't understand. Well, the leaves aren't actually black. I'm not going to do that. But you do that. It's to hold your attention to the frame. So
I appreciate it.
Very good use of black and white.
Yeah, and I don't know again how many of you have read Savage Sword of Conan. In 2000 AD, which is where Judge Dredd came out of the UK. But those books are classic black and white anthology comics, and they look great. And I always liked that look, and I wanted to do this book in that look as well. But I appreciate it.
Milton Caniff, Terry and the Pirates. Oh my gosh, this stuff is amazing. That's just beautiful. Old comic strip. That's just amazing. The use of black and white and clothing. Oh god, this is amazing.
No, I sincerely appreciate it. But no, Ralph, I agree with you, man. Like sometimes, so some of the stuff in Lords of the Cosmos, I had someone at some point was like, well, I think I had like a plane or something like that. And like, well, it doesn't look realistic. Like it would fly. And I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like it's a comic book. A lot of it, inherently doesn't make sense, and if you try to dig too hard into it, you'll kind of, it just all falls apart. So you just kind of got to lean into the fact that a lot of it doesn't need to necessarily make sense. It's fun. Chainsaw Man is a guy that pulls a cord out of his chest and his hands turn into chainsaws. Like ultimately,
it's not realistic.
It doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't matter. It's enjoyable, right? You have to.
It's fun, yeah.
Right now, if I was trying to do like a military espionage comic that was set in modern day, that wouldn't work because that story needs to be very grounded in, well, this handgun does this, and a person can only jump so far. So there's one of the pages in my story where there's a woman who's a normal, average woman, and she jumps like 15 feet in the air. And I just thought it looked really cool, and it did what I wanted it to do. And we were laughing about it. We're like, holy hell, she could jump. Right? You know what I mean? But it's just fun, right? They're all over the top, characters that are bigger than life, right?
Dude, I just heard this and I shared it with the guys in our message board, and when Pokemon first came to the United States, they were like, "Oh, these things look too cute. The American audience would never love this." And then they did these versions of the Pokemon that were more to the American aesthetic, and I have to say it wasn't any of these cute little Pokemon that we know of, and I sat there looking at this going, "Oh my god, you got to be freaking kidding me!" But
I
it's
saw it
like,
before. It's so bad. It's so bad.
it's
I
just
saw it. It was so
episode
bad.
of, there was an episode of South Park around season 11 or 12 where the four main characters go missing. So I think Barb Brady's marching around looking for the kids, and he's going door to door, and he knocks on the door, and there's a character, and of course they all look like South Park characters, and he says, have you seen these kids? And he holds up a sheet of paper to the screen, and then it hard cuts to a highly detailed pencil drawing that's hyper realistic. And I thought it was one of the funniest things ever on South Park because they look like actual kids. And then it hard cuts back to the animated characters, and they're like, "Nope, haven't seen them." And they just play it straight. But
oh my god, it was one of those topics we end up talking on the show a lot about because I really don't understand. You're into comic books, you're into fantasy, you're into anime, and the first thing out of your mouth is like, it's not realistic. And I'm like, oh, you didn't have problems with the little rat that threw lightning, so.
Hey, you leave my lightning rat out of this.
I think well, the thing is that you have to a lot of these things you have to get past people who just want to make money and they want to say, hey, no one's ever gonna get this. No one's ever gonna like relate to this, whatever. We can't do this, we're not gonna do anything. But I think if you have a good concept, as far as is out there, as long as you get anybody to like buy into the story, buy into the characters, I mean you can kind of just do what you do. You can go as much as you want, but it has to be a good story, good artwork, everything has to be good. And I think people will just buy into, something like Chainsaw Man. People will just buy into it as long as you have a good product,
So I think kind of going back to tone, I think the other important thing is consistency. So again, if you're going to do a hyper realistic military espionage story, to throw in a kind of a fantastic element, it doesn't work in that context because it's not the tone. Like it's the whole thing is because it's realistic. Whereas
that makes sense.
Right, but with like Lords of the Cosmos from the first issue, it's been over the top. Right.
Exactly.
So you as a creator have to set your tone for like this is what this is. Like I like heavy metal, right? So if you listen to Cannibal Corpse, like that has a certain aesthetic, it's a certain speed, the content and everything else, and it's like a horror film. And if you like Cannibal Corpse, like it's cool, and if you just like this is really annoying and loud, like it is what it is after a certain point. A lot of the bands that I like have been doing stuff for a long time, so you basically know what you're going to get. So like I said, I think it's consistency, and I think where maybe readers or viewers get frustrated is if we've established, that this is pretty lighthearted and then all of a sudden it needs to be really serious, what I mean? Or if it's not realistic and then it has to be realistic or whatever. So I think I've been pretty consistent with the tone that I've set. And again, I go back to those things that were, things that I loved as a kid. Again, Thundar, Flash Gordon, et cetera, where there's,
all
Flash,
the good stuff.
buckling guys and rocket ships fighting dinosaurs and robots.
Exactly.
I mean, at a certain level, all that stuff's pretty unrealistic, but it's Flash Gordon. We roll with it.
Yeah. I think you can throw people for a loop, like you can have something realistic and then make it fantastic. But if you do that, you have to do it like pretty early. You can't like drag people along and then all of a sudden, oh, guess what? The Smurfs are real. That's that's when you come to
wait, they're not?
Yeah. Oh, we can talk about the Smurfs for a long time.
Oh goodness.
So Matta, comedy, Matta.
Oh, hey.
Your turn.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm Sorcier. I am the writer, artist, everythinger of this comic, The Misadventures of Bunny and Friend. I don't sleep a lot. It's very tragic. It's a fantasy comedy that feels a lot like a D&D campaign where everyone just keeps rolling ones because just the worst thing always happens. And it's the story of 3 inept heroes who, in all honesty, they don't like each other very much. You can sense that they might turn on each other at any time. I can words. It's getting late. I say as it's like not even 9 o'clock. You can tell I don't sleep a lot. But yeah, so they're 3 inept heroes trying to save the world from a demon invasion. It's not going well for them. They kind of, in their careless negligence, just end up doing more damage than the actual bad guys do. There's a giant chicken in it. It's very silly, irreverent humor. It pokes a lot of fun at the fantasy genre in general, like where people might see like, all right, here's an epic quest. I'm going to be like, here's some idiots who are going to ruin everything. Take that epic quest. It's very like reminiscent of like Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail, or like, you know, Mel Brooks sort of humor with like Robin Hood Men in Tights, like things along those lines. So if you like fun and you like to laugh and you like silly characters with a cute art style, this is up your alley. There's pumpkins, there's wizards.
Is it realistic though?
It's realistic in my heart, and that's all that matters.
I don't think chickens can actually grow to that size. Therefore, I reject the entire story. I was gonna
all right, but hear me out. What about like Chernobyl chickens?
Chernobyl chicken.
It actually wouldn't be Chernobyl chickens. It would be the chickens from New Jersey. There's a specific breed of chicken that is actually like waist high.
Oh, they're huge. Yeah.
Remind me never to go to New Jersey ever again. I don't need that.
Water? Like, what's going on?
The large chicken caught my 9-year-old's attention. He pointed at it. Target.
You pointed out first, and I
All right, we're muting you.
Oh my God.
I will say the comic itself is not particularly suitable for kids. There is like pretty humor and jokes and like curse words. The F-bomb is censored out just because it's funnier that way, but like everything else is on the table. So yeah, I mean, I'd say it's probably safe for, I don't know, like 14 and up. I'm bad at judging these things. I just don't want angry parents being like, I gave this to my 5-year-old and, you know, now he won't stop saying these curse words. Like, you should have read it before you gave it to
you have someone in the comments saying it's realistic because they roll ones.
Yep. He knows what's up.
Exactly.
If any
he also said that, you know, not to make us feel old, but says nothing about the Dreamcast.
Oof.
Well, wait, what are you saying, Derek?
It still works.
Oh, he's going back to the old conversation with the Dreamcast.
And the DS and all of
No,
those.
Derek's trying to say something.
Oh, Derek, go ahead.
It's fine. I was just making. I was gonna make a bad joke about like if any angry parent tells you that this wasn't for kids, just tell them to read Animal Farm to the kids instead.
Nice.
Dude, parents are funny. Parents bug me out. And now that I am a parent, it's funny to me because I sit there going, I don't make these decisions for my kids. So why do they make the decisions for their kids? It's like, oh, my kid is playing Resident Evil. And why is your kid playing Resident Evil?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, people have told me like, oh, well, why don't you just make it a kids comic? And I'm like, it's not the kids I'm afraid of, it's the parents. So I'm just going to make this for like older teens.
Exactly.
Or like, you know, I'm just going to make the comic I want to make without worrying about if someone's going to be like, I'm a bad influence or like the devil or whatever. Like, we know I'm the devil. We don't have to say that. But I mean, yes.
It's funny you say that. Go ahead.
Can I add on to the Monty Python part?
Sure.
Stop. You stop, Jolene.
Peak composer right there.
Amazing.
Whoa there.
Woo, horsey.
Alex, I can help you. I can record this for you for free if you want.
There you go.
Oh, we can find some places for that.
So has anybody ever gotten an angry letter from a parent? Because I have.
Oh.
Yeah. Anybody actually get one?
I have been fortunate enough to not get that.
I haven't
but
gotten a letter.
We might jinx something, so I'm going to knock on wood.
But I've gotten stuff on my DMs. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Not from a parent.
You call this a
not
kid
from a
show? I'm like,
parent.
I never called this a kid show. This is not a pitch.
Hold on. What's this about? Not from a parent.
That's what I'm telling you. It was a parent telling me how I was a horrible
Chase
person.
is trying to say something.
This is
Oh
not.
no! The question was, have you ever gotten an angry letter from a parent? And I said, well, not from a parent, but when you start to put this just the realities of entrepreneurship for a business whose product goes to the public, that for whatever reason, you can make decisions that please 99% of your audience, but 1% just rubs them the wrong way. And anyway, I think that's something that we've learned a lot about going through this journey. And Alex said something that sometime around like a year ago that always stuck in my head about the fact that, especially on the internet, the way that people really ramp themselves up has to do with the fact that when you want to express a negative emotion, part of our just like human psychology is that expressing a negative emotion is relieved when you can see people in front of you like receiving it with the intensity that you express it. But on the internet, you don't get that. And so what is your natural instinct when you express something and feel like it's not being heard? It's to get louder. It's to get angrier. It's to just keep ramping up. And so much of the vitriol that we see, especially if you get an angry email about some product decision or something like that, so much of that like heightened emotional state really is just a fact of the medium, that it's very frustrating to express into the void something negative and to not feel anything back. And so, we've done we spent a lot of time really trying to make sure that, people feel very heard with feedback and stuff like that. But anyway, that is a totally different discussion than angry letter from a parent. So sorry to derail.
Just different people.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't please everybody, so you just have to please the most people possible, I guess.
No, it's what we deal with all the time. Just social media and the internet. We'll make a great point. Someone will insult us with 3 words. Those 3 words will get 1,000 likes. And what you said, I don't think that.
I mean, you can just be like, I like ketchup, and someone's like, yeah, but what about mustard, huh? You hate mustard. Like, did I say that?
Yeah. Also, every point has to be expressed in like 140 characters or less, or people don't want to hear it. It's like, okay, cool.
Oh
Thanks.
God, yeah.
Yeah. I still remember a really fun time when we first launched Amberwind, where we got a very angry letter sent to us. The archer in Amberwind is Asian, because the game is based on historic cultures around the world, so your typical fantasy tropes. And we had someone react to the ad that was running with the archer on it, being like, "How dare you appropriate Asian culture?" And like we had to reply very politely and be like, "Oh, we're so sorry about all this. We'll definitely do better. We did a lot of research on this already, but if you can let us know what we can do, that'd be great." Signed Derek Chung. And then they're like, "Oh, I see. You are also Asian. Okay."
But wait, was it like a drawn image of like an Asian archer?
On the manual.
Yeah, it's on the actual manual.
So wait, how is that appropriating?
I don't know, but like, yeah. So
people are weird.
So that's the artwork for her, right? Like, it's pretty
Okay, hold
tasteful
on.
and
I'll put you
respectful,
up.
I'd like to say.
That's pretty appropriation, if I do say so myself. That's very European.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah.
It's appropriate, not appropriation.
Didn't every culture, or close to every culture, have a bow and arrow? Wasn't that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can go wrong with a bow and arrow.
I don't know. People are funny, especially fans. Like I was saying, I get it all the time where you guys need to concentrate your show in one area, and
No.
I'm like, whatever. Whatever.
I get that with my comics too, because I do 2 comics that are in completely different styles and tones, and it's like, well, why don't you just focus on one and just do that, and you'll do so much better. And it's like, I don't wanna. I want to be able to switch between like, very stressful, detailed art with like a stressful story to like something that's fun to draw and lighthearted, and just like, that's great for my mental health. I don't need stress 24/7.
Don't you want your own multiverse? I know. We're all sick and tired of these multiverses. They keep doing them.
Every time I hear the word multiverse, like another version of me across the multiverse just drops dead.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I see we are at a mark to try to start to wrap this up. So, Chase, Alex, go first. Tell the people who you are, where they can find you, all the good stuff. Go for it.
Yeah. So once again, Pocket Bard. It's available for free on the iOS App Store, the Google Play Store. If you find your way to our Discord through our website, pocketbard.app, or other means, you can try out the open beta for Pocket Bard on Windows. And yeah, follow us on social media. We're some variation of Pocket Bard everywhere. You'll find us.
They're pretty easy to find, folks.
Thanks for having us on. I really appreciate being able to chat with everybody. And
and also just adding on to that, we're going to be at PAX Unplugged this year. So anybody who's there, stop by our booth. So keep follow us for updates.
All right, Derek and Kirby.
For sure. So to find any of our stuff, it's just at this particular website. Just look for that blue dinosaur, Nomnivore. Look it up anywhere. You'll find any of our content, from the epic RPGs we do, like Emberwind, that's currently on the screen, to any of the cute, more kid-friendly stuff that features a bunch of those baby blue dinosaurs. Beyond that, we're going to be at a couple more shows before the end of the year, including PAX Unplugged as well.
Nice.
But the big spicy thing that I guess we can sort of talk about a little bit now is Reed Pop, who organizes all the PAX shows, has asked us to start running their neurodiversity lounges, which will be a lot of fun.
Cool.
So we're going to be talking to a bunch of different people, hopefully maybe Pocket Bard, about some of the fun stuff that we might be able to do to make that space sensory friendly for everyone in a very nerdy way. So yeah, we might have more things to talk about later. Alex and Chase.
Sounds
but
good.
beyond that, I also wanted to let Kirby talk a little bit about himself too, because while he does have the title right now of Nomnivore Games writer, he is also a pro DM and does a ridiculously good job at all that.
When I'm not writing for Derek, I do pro GMing. You can find me on startplayinggames.com or most social media. I'm either Kirby with an E or Lazy Flex.
I love it. We've had a couple of guys on that do their own do the DM thing, where because a lot of folks are always looking for a DM, because nobody wants to be the DM.
So much work. It's so much work.
And once you're the DM, you never become a player again.
Yeah.
So Kirby, have you found that experience? Has it been now that you're always a DM?
I think some people are just born to be a GM, just straight from the cradle. So yeah, pretty much. And at least with me, like I do a lot of non-mainstream games. So if you're struggling to find a GM that does something that's not Dungeons and Dragons, hit me up.
That's always Shadowrun. Yeah. Oh, Shadowrun.
Well, I'm about to. So yeah, I will be.
That's one game I've always wanted to get into, but I'm like, I don't know if I have the capacity to learn this right now.
That's why you hire someone else to know the game for you. The only thing you got to do is bring like 700 d6s to the game. But
exactly.
Yeah. You can hire me to learn completely new games. I did the Dune role-playing game, and I read 2 or 3 of the novels just to run the one shot for someone who was a huge fan, on top of learning the game system.
That's
so
cool.
I'm very good at learning games and teaching them.
So if we need someone to play Emberwind for us,
that's GM optional, so I will optionally not be there.
Play it,
You don't need me to be there.
Can I ask Kirby a question? So are there a lot of people like me that see some of these role-playing games that are into niche things like Dune and Alien, and then buy the books and then just sit on them and never play them and occasionally just browse them because they look cool?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people like that. I had one person hire me because they had the Supernatural role playing game based off the Supernatural TV show
Ooh.
for since like 2008 or whatever,
Is that
and they
over
hired
already?
me for that. Yeah, yeah,
2008
yeah.
was 10 years ago.
I know. Yeah, the role playing game for it came out after like season 4, and someone hired me for it. So
Wow.
IPs, yeah, IPs are hard.
I've been obsessively buying all the Alien role playing games with like no intention of actually playing them because they're really well put together books, and I like to read them and look at them, but I've never even considered playing them. So I'm fascinated by this, that there's more people like me that are doing that, and thankful there are people like you that are willing to figure out how to play them.
Yeah, no. I
There you go.
we can
Now,
talk about this
if you
after,
want to
too.
play an alien game,
You know, hey, it's you know, it's fix a problem, right? Thank you, Kirby.
Yeah.
go ahead, Jolene.
Okay, so if you want to find me, you can just Google my name, but be sure to write my surname because it will come out with something else.
Yeah, I noticed that. I actually noticed that because every time I'm trying to like tag you on something, I'm like, I have to put in almost all your name.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. That's my website. I write music for films, animation, games, tabletop games. Yeah, this is the award that I got from Trade Awards. So there's that. And um, so if you're still interested in my music, you can check me out on Spotify. I'm available. My music's available on Spotify, Apple Music, and all major streaming platforms, basically. So yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, and these are all the first composers. Oh,
You should
wait,
be
and
like,
Nomnivore. Yes, I work with Nomnivore. Yes.
That's not what I'm
Get
trying
me
to
out
say.
there.
I'm saying Jolene is currently looking for more work and things. Please hire her for stuff.
Aw,
Pitch
thank you,
yourself.
Derek.
Don't make me do it.
I'm very embarrassed of doing this sort of thing. Like, hire me. Like, I can't. I'm just a no. I love to do it.
Jolene, don't worry about it. You're in great company. None of us like to talk about it, which
that's
is
why
the
we do it
funniest
for
thing in
each
the
other.
world.
Yeah, and just to double down on that, Jolene's got an awesome, like, unique style too.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to add something like a dimension to your project that actually has like a character and doesn't sound kind of like a copy of, you know, the top 3 types of scores that you hear, I think you've got a great unique style, which is something as a composer I think is highly underrated.
Oh, thanks, Alex. I mean, I try, especially like with so many like tropes of music these days, and people kind of like pigeonhole you into doing that sort of style. It's very, very, very easy to kind of like, oh, you kind of slightly copied John Williams or whatever, which is not fun.
Yeah, no, you're not a copy of any of those people.
No, I'm very inspired by them, but again, I want to be me, not.
That's the way to be, though. You get inspired and you do your own thing.
Exactly.
Unlike AI.
Oh, that's a whole debate to go onto that. I think Alex and Chase would know too.
You throw up AI at the 11th hour. Jeez.
I always gotta say it.
Uh,
Go ahead, Lennox. Your turn.
I'm gonna mute myself. That would be a good start. I'm easy to find online at Lennox Artist on X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram, and Jason Lennox Illustrator on Facebook. So support me at Lords of the Cosmos issue 5 on Kickstarter. Now up to 101 backers and almost $5,500. I have a stretch goal at $8,000 where everybody gets a chibi of Zemba, who is the character pictured there in our title card. The art victim did her as a chibi, which was really fun to see that. And so I really hope if you want to check
art victim.
Well, no. So the artist that made the chibi character, his handle is the art victim.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow,
that makes more sense.
Yeah. So yes,
the guy in my basement made a chibi.
To be fair,
that's their handle. But yeah, if you want to check out an over-the-top 1980s inspired black and white anything goes, robots, talking insects, magicians, cyborgs, like throwing down on a planet that's a huge wreck because they've been fighting there for 50 years. Please join me. You won't be disappointed. It's my 13th Kickstarter, 9 of which have been comic books, 3 art books, and a coloring book set mixed in there as well. So I've always done right by my backers, delivering things as promised and on time with no AI, and making sure that everybody's gotten paid on my projects, and respecting the backers first and foremost. So if any of this appeals to you, I hope you support my comic, Lords of the Cosmos, issue 5, now on Kickstarter.
Also, high five, because I'm also on 13 campaigns. So
good for you. Hey, you know what? What was your first year you did one?
2021.
Wow, I go back to 2012. So
I'm busy. I told you I don't sleep. It's terrible.
Yeah, no, you're an animal. You'll be at like 26, and I'll be like, I'm on my 14th.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
You're an animal?
Wow. Well, I respect it, because these things are hard, and doing a lot of them in that short a period of time, like that's like beast mode, right? Like Marshawn
doing all of the art myself too, and the writing.
Yeah, she does everything: the writing, the art, the lettering.
Yeah, yeah, that's again, from going through these things, I getting to meet you on the show, respect through the roof, because it's hard, and it's hard to do. And yeah, you're Marshawn Lynch of comics. You're beast mode. Ooh.
Awesome.
Speaking of which, Matta, now it's your turn. Go for it.
All right. So, Misadventures of Buddy and Friend, issues 1 through 3. The newest book is issue 3, but you can catch up with 1 and 2. Yeah, just launched today. We're doing great. We're over $1,000. We got 34 backers. We're going strong. 17 days to go. If you like watching fantasy creatures die in hilarious, horrible, accidental ways, this is the kind of comic for you. If you're into, just making fun of the usual fantasy tropes, and just all around lighthearted comedy. No grim, dark, bad feels here. Just laughter 24/7. And yeah, so you can find me at Matta Sorcier, MATTASORCIER, at Twitter, which I refuse to call it by the other name, and also Instagram. And yeah, so just check out the comic. I've got like good affordable catch-up tiers. I've got digital books, physical books. You can also catch up on my other series, Sacrimony, that has 7 issues so far since 2021. I don't know how I'm alive now. Somebody please help me. This is a cry for help.
Yeah, Matta is just amazing. I still think my favorite line of yours is like, I can't even afford to pay myself.
It's true. Nobody makes money on Kickstarter. I don't make money on Kickstarter. I don't know how I'm sustaining myself right now. Not very well, but yeah. I love what I do.
I put all that stuff into the comment section, so I don't have to hear, well, if I'm lazy, I don't want to go look for those links. So all the links that you just heard are in the comment section, so you got no excuses to go check these people out. But they'll still give me an excuse.
Of course. Ralph, I forgot. Well, then that's you. Oh, who did that? Whose books are those?
This is what I'm up to reading. So this is your. So it takes me a long time to read things. They have you included this too. It's really nice.
Thank you.
So thank you.
You got it. That is my other art style. It's completely different from Buddy and Friend.
Really quick. So thank you.
Yay.
Speaking of which, Matta, do you have it handy?
Do I have it handy? That's a good question. Let's find out.
I just have to knock everything down to get it, but I do that.
No. Nothing is getting knocked down here. Yes, I do still have it. Ta-da!
That is just amazing.
Yeah. So, am I muted or am I not muted? I can't tell.
No, you're good.
Okay. I thought I muted my mic by accident. But yeah, this was like hand painted with like watercolor and acrylics, and there's also like some glitter thrown in to just beautiful. Add a little more pizzazz to it. And yeah, like I do a lot of different art styles. Like pretty much any new book I do, if I'm even working for a client, might not be the same art style that you see from my other books, just because like Lennox was saying, like it's about the tone. You want to have an art style that fits the tone of the book, versus just doing the same thing that you're doing over and over again when the tone is different. So I like to just do different styles. I get bored of the same style easily, so just always.
Which is why you're working other people's comics now.
Yes, I am working on other people's comics now. I would like to do more of that, actually. So, if anybody has a comic idea, hire me. I'm shameless. I'll say it. I need the work.
Speaking of other people's comics, folks, our friends from, John Westhoff has said that he's going to give 2 free tickets to Chicago, I should say, for this Indie Comic Expo. And, whoever claims it first will get them. So if you're in Chicago and you want to go to this beautiful Indie Comics Expo, hit me up.
Yeah, Indie Comics Expo is cool because it's a very small, curated group of indie creators. It's not like a big, overwhelming thing where it's like celebrity signings and things like that. Like if you really want to meet some cool, small creators, get in on it. I think he has maybe 16 people, he said, 16 creators. Also, it's a music venue. Some of these comic creators also play music, so you get a little concert going as well. So
it's going to be a concert and an Indie Comic Expo.
Yeah, right? It doesn't get any better than that. I think we need more smaller indie comics type conventions to just showcase the little guy who always gets overshadowed by celebrity signings. I say this as someone very bitter about that.
So I'm going to follow up on this on the regular site and put up all the stuff. And Jolene put her website here if we need it, so I'll share that too.
Excellent.
While I talk about this. So, folks, I am about to put all this stuff out there. So, if you guys want the Chicago tickets for the Indie Comic Expo, let me know. And, maybe you'll get it. Maybe you won't. I don't know. There goes Jolene's website. So, go check her out there.
Yeah, all new photos, guys.
Ooh. I mean, we got to go check this out later.
You don't see the new photo right there?
Right where?
Which one?
What?
New photo.
No, that wasn't new.
This is new. This was taken in May, I think. I forgot. But my old photos was 5 years ago. So.
Oh, okay.
Kind of badass that picture there.
It
really is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go for the. Sorry. Yes.
No, I'm just jealous of your setup.
Oh,
That's not mine. So what I did was I went to. I know it looks really good. I went to a music studio to take a picture of it. So, yeah.
So you kind of have a
done that before.
matrix. You have a Matrix vibe in that picture, but then you got the coconuts here at the home office, so it's kind of jarring.
Yeah, I think the next step is getting a new logo. I might need to change it soon. So, just saying, I might.
I know some logo people. I might send them your way.
Perfect. but yeah, I was going for a Bear McCreary kind of picture. Bear McCreary is the composer for Ring of Power and God of War Ragnarok. Right. So, really cool guy.
Nice.
I don't know. It looks really rock and roll.
Thank you.
No problem. Mr. Nathan, are we forgetting anything?
Not much this week. We are pretty much good to go.
I think the only thing we're forgetting is that Phil put out his new book. Do I have it over here?
Is it out or is it signed?
Oh, fair. Yeah, he already released it this week, I think it was. So Phil Russert has his beautiful Monsters book out right now. So go check out Phil Russert. If you like the classic Universal type monsters, this is the book for you, folks. And we're going to have him on the show to kick off our Spooktacular on September 30th. I think the only other thing is our friend from Everborn was supposed to be on today. And he has his Kickstarter going on right now. If you love that video game feel, this is the book for you. Video game RPG, which is all up our alleys right here. He does a great job with this. Everborn feels really like those old classic video games, JRPGs. It's go check it out, folks. It's pretty good. I'll make it easier for you guys, and I'll stick it into the comment section so I don't hear, Ralph, you didn't put it in the comment section, so I didn't go looking for it. You know, and I know you people go, Ralph, that voice you're sounding. No. I'm specifically calling somebody out.
Oh snaps!
He's calling me out, by the way.
I can call you out too, but
I also put a link to Sarah's anthology.
Oh my God, Matta put something up over here.
Yep.
Go ahead, Matta.
Oh yes, our pal Sarah Cook, who we talked to last week, launched a sci-fi anthology about family. There, as far as I know, I think there's like 16 different creators involved. It's a lot of book. It also follows sort of like a continuous story, and yeah, they're doing great. They're funded. Yes, they are funded. 111 backers. Yep. 10 days to go. Like, the cool thing about anthologies is you get like so many different creators involved, like different types of stories, and it's just like you could find your new favorite creator here.
You can, definitely. Yeah. You definitely can find your new favorite creator there. And speaking of anthologies, I will be part of an anthology soon. We Suck at Comics is going to be releasing soon, and we're going to have them on the show soon to talk about We Suck at Comics.
I will never get over that name. It's so good.
I love saying We Suck at Comics. And I like the fact that the first anthology I'm in is called We Suck at Comics.
You know what it is? It's because like no matter how far you get in your career, there's always still going to be that voice in your head that's kind of like, no, maybe you still suck. Like maybe you suck. I don't know.
So folks, it's a good thing that this thing's up here, because the best thing to do if you want to help out a creator, and it's free, is you go and press on that notify me on launch button. The more of a following they have, the better off in the algorithm they start when the Kickstarter starts. So go, folks, go follow this right now. Give them a nice like 100, 150. That's a good place to go.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah. I think that's everything, folks. Chase, Alex, Derek, Kirby, Jolene, and Lennox, thanks for being on. You guys are welcome anytime, because you guys really know how to geek out.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. More than happy to come back. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing that. It feels like that's what I know was a good show. On this show, when it ends, this happens.
Interrupting episode says what?
What?
Interrupting oranges. Any oranges in here?